inch and an eighth. Well, I can finally get to the exhaust manifold, although I don't think I'm going to have much luck getting those nuts off of there. So we'll give it a try though anyway. Well, our camera died for this last bolt here, or third bolt, but the last bolt's behind here. And I think I can get this shorter breaker bar in there. But I won't have much movement. If it breaks off like the rest of them, I shouldn't need any, but leverage is the problem now. No, so far not. Let's turn this 90 degrees, see if it gives me a different... that'll work. Okay. Good. Broke off. So now what's holding this on? Is it just gravity or just rust? I'm just going to tap this with a hammer, see if that falls off of there. Good grief. All right. Let's try this instead. There's hardly any teeth left on this, but let's see if there's enough to cut that bracket off of there. Well, so much for that. Well, I didn't get it on camera, obviously. But that's off. This is welded on. I'll have to grind that off later because the bracket's going to be in the way for what I'm doing later. It's come to the point where I could crawl underneath this truck and try to find out what to disconnect to get the cab off. And I actually can't see any cab mounts on it, so it must be everything forward. To be honest, I haven't even looked underneath there yet. But you know, I've got this lift, and all I think I need to do is push it forward about 3.5 feet so that forward arm will go behind this front tire and on the other side. And then, but the thing is, the frame is so narrow. This is a little bit less than, about 3 feet. Well, those arms will have to be extended fully out because it's just to get underneath the frame. Plus, where's the center of gravity? That motor is really, really heavy, and the cab weighs something. But so does this tank and this rear end here. So I don't know where the center of gravity is. It'll take some shifting back and forth. But just to get to that point, I need to push this thing forward 3.5 feet. And I've tried moving it, and on my own I can't. So I'll have to get the tractor in here. Well, it's off the ground. I just have to decide if I really want to work underneath it. Until I get some more experience with this lift. Seems to be working. So what does it look like underneath a fire truck? Or at least a 1967 American LaFrance. Great big giant open wheel wells. Like a series of air tanks. Horns. Oh, interesting, it's got standard little horns. I think that's the transmission. Stick goes there. I think that's one of the cab mounts tucked up in there. Yeah, there's the other one. And is there 4? Here's the steering sector. This would be the clutch. Come on, man. Where's the other cab mount? I've got the jack stands underneath, so I feel marginally safer walking underneath it. And I think I've found the other cab mounts. They are back here. See one right there. Oops. And there's the other one. There is some kind of electronic device there. Looks like a transformer or something. There's some other bracketry, but I think, I'll have to disconnect this to get the cab off. And all these cables and such, this thing right in front, all these wires, just to clear the way. And there's the air compressor. I need to, I don't know what that is. That must be the hydraulic steering pump. That's attached to the frame. I mean, I don't really need to take too much out of the cab. I think I need to take off the steering, get the pedals. The pedals are connected by hoses. The throttle has got a cable, which is kind of really destroyed here. It's hanging down. I don't know if you can see it, but it's been tied to the suspension and it's all busted up, so I can just cut that. The hoses attached, it's an air brake system, so I just got to disconnect hoses. That'll take care of that. The biggest thing is the steering. This steering ram, my goodness, you could use that to split wood. Tied in here, it goes to this rod. The rod ties into the cylinder, which goes to the radius arm. I think it's called a radius arm. And that's to the front wheel. And so where does it get its power from? Okay, the power is these hoses that come from the hydraulic pump over there and feed this. What I don't understand is how the steering signal, how the hydraulics know to assist. So this here is the clutch arm, comes from the clutch pedal. I guess I can take that off, leave this attached to the frame. There's the other end of the rod that I disconnected earlier. The adjustment for that is a turnbuckle. Oh, pretty agricultural under here, but I guess it worked. I just noticed as well, right here is a bolt. It goes to a big, the towing rings go through the body into the frame. And the bumper. So the bumper's got to come off too. Okay, that's out of the way. Well, you missed all that. I got this pipe off of here. And I got that link off of there. Throttle arm is up here. I just shoved it up through the hole. Comes off easy enough. Tangle of wires, I'm just going to cut them. I've been looking for the best way to take this arm off. It's big. Anyways, most of this is firmly attached to the front axle of the frame. I only really have to break this arm off of the steering sector up here. I was just going to take that nut off up there But then looking at this, I got to thinking there might just be a spring, and this is a big split pin there. I think there's just a spring, and that's a cap, and you unscrew that, and the spring releases. And I think this just comes off. Let's try that. That is definitely threaded. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there are threads right here. So that turns. And that should then allow that, probably a ball and socket. All I have to do is just, just free this nut off of here and it should come out. Piece of iron from my scrap bin. I think that was meant to be. That's working. Okay. There's a ball. Oh, well, there you go. Steering is free. I've got to get this clutch pedal off, and I haven't seen anything other than this tiny little spot here, which I think must be just simply a roll pin. It's too deep to be a socket head cap screw. Let's see if I can just drive that out of there. I might be able to heat it enough. No movement. Okay. So it's 4 bolts. These nuts on the back side, so see if I can get that in that way. The other 2 bolts are behind this bracket, so they're going to be difficult to get to at best, because the one at the top there is pretty much hard to get to no matter which side I approach it from. Do what I can. There's the spring here. I got that off. Now, this thing isn't going to come out for whatever reason. Well, I didn't want to cut this off. I probably should have cut it off right before, but this is the only way, I think. So it's going to be cut off. There we go. It's off. That thing worked pretty well. Right. Now what? Well, there's a big nut on the inside of there. It just spins freely. I've got a wrench holding it. Let's see if I can break it loose. It's awful rusty. Take this off and this off, or just take these 2 off? I think I'll take these 2 off. Half the work. These bolts must be galvanized because there's no other reason they can come off the season. Everything else under here is so corroded. Let's see how heavy this is. I don't think so. May not come out simply because it's jammed up in here somehow. Ugh, still awful heavy though. Good grief. Next thing, take out the shifter box here. It's kind of oily. I don't see any fill or drain holes on it. There might be a drain hole on this side. I can't really see. But I think it's just full of gear oil. There's something there. It's probably an adjustment bolt more than a drain. Anyways, on this side there appears to be 3 bolts. And it looks like there's a coupling here. It goes into a mechanism that slides back and forth as well as turns. And that's all tied to the frame. So I'm going to leave all of that, but I do have to take this off because that's sticking into the cab. See how we go with that. I'm going to break this copper line off right there. Get it out of the way. These are some Husky ratchet closed end wrenches. Gift from my brother. Thanks, brother. Okay, that's in there. Now how does that break off? There's a couple of bolts, like 1/2 inch. That's going to fall. Keep it up there somehow. Probably weighs a ton. All right. And that would be the stick shift. Okay, I've got hydraulic lines and a wiring harness, and then these 4 big bolts right here. I guess I'll try the bolts next, because the wiring harness shouldn't be an issue, and the lines have oil in them, and I don't want to deal with that just yet. I took this air line out, but it's going to be right directly in the way of that body mount there, so I guess I'll take the rest of this off. So this goes. Alrighty. Yeah, those may not come out of that body mount too well. Looks like they've been pretty well formed in there. The rubber's perished, but that doesn't mean it's going to slide out of that hole.